Hello everybody and welcome to the face reading for successful relationships. For those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube Introduction to Face Reading. You can also, of course, buy my book, Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. I received a magazine called AARP. Yes, this one. And if you haven't seen it, it simply means that you are under the age of 50, and I'm 65, so I have been getting it for a while. It stands for the American Association for Retired Persons. In this issue, Marlo Thomas and Phil Donahue wrote an article, Celebrity Secrets for a Long, Happy Marriage. Listen, I was watching Phil Donahue's show 40 years ago when I came to the United States. Shows like this. I loved watching them because Phil spoke slowly and clearly, and it helped me to learn English. So, back to the article. In the article, Marlo and Phil spoke about 7 couples whose marriage lasted between 5 and 31 years. I chose only 3 couples who have been together for 30 years or more. Plus, Marlo and Phil have been married for 40 years. I decided to do face reading of these 4 couples. Look, we already know that these relationships work. They've even shared with us in the article we read about it what made these marriages last so long from their perspective. What we as face readers will do is attempt to see if there are any temperamental or personality characteristics which made these matches so successful. I cannot do the reading of all the couples in this one video. I will start with Marlo and Phil, and in the following 3 videos I will do the readings of the rest of those guys. Let's start with Phil and Marlo. We'll call it Donahue series, and here we go. Marlo Thomas and Phil Donahue, ladies and gentlemen. And here they are 40 years ago. Let's look at Marlo first, her personality and temperament. As usual, we start with her face, personality. The personality, the persona, which we show to the world and we develop as a result of our upbringing and the environment. And it looks to me she is a son. And she has been a son pretty much all of her life. Look. And what do we know about the son personality? I just spoke about the son personality, in fact, in my previous video, the wife of Leonardo DiCaprio, Camilla Monroe. She is a perfect son, remember? So the son are the least aggressive of all people with the sanguine temperament. They do not do things to conquer, to prove themselves, or to seduce someone. Though sociable and the great company it invited, if not invited, they're just fine. Out of sight, out of mind is how they operate. They're naturally detached, aloof, and distant, and often mistakenly perceived as arrogant. But they're not arrogant. They're simply comfortable being on their own. They form few close relationships and are very choosy who they pick as friends. A son may choose to be in a romantic relationship only when they decide it's time for them to be in one. Even then, they will need a lot of space for themselves. Interesting. Marla was 43 years old when she married Phil, and she was never married before. Okay, now let's look at her temperament, the innate characteristics that she came into this world with. I couldn't find any contemporary pictures of her profile, but here's what I have. It appears that she has a sanguine jaw, picture 1, and look at the picture 2. You can really make a straight line from the forehead to the chin, which makes her bilious as well. But you can also see a tilted forehead, green line, going from the sanguine jaw, a corner of the jaw, and it's the second feature of the sanguine. So Marlo Thomas is a bilious / sanguine. As a bilious, she is willful, organized, strong-minded, deliberate in her thinking, maybe somewhat impulsive, the tilted forehead. When it comes to physical activity, she is forceful and measured at the beginning, but soon runs out of steam. That's the sanguine's corner of the jaw. Someone new to face reading may ask, why did you take the liberty to use the picture of the profile of her younger age and the picture of the face is contemporary? It's because the profile is the bone structure which does not change over time, like one's face, except when a person with age gains weight and begins to acquire some lymphatic physical appearance. So this is what we know about Marlo's personality and temperament. Now let's look at Phil. His personality is clearly a Jupiter. Here, his photo on the left, the shape of his face is somewhat between Mars and Earth face. A little too long for the Earth face and a little too short for Mars face. You see it here. But at older age, he turns into a Jupiter. What is interesting is that much older that is now, he becomes Mars again. And I notice this many times with people as they age, they become Mars. Even if at a younger age they were Venus or Saturn, you see with age muscles of the face move down, and with it comes an attitude change, something like, I don't care, I will tell you how things are, I'm not afraid to put up a fight. And here's his profile, which of course tells us about Phil's temperament. You see the bilious corner of the jaw, right? But you can see the tilted forehead as well, red line. And what about the sanguine reddish skin color? Between the skin color and the tilted forehead, both of a sanguine temperament, he is mentally and emotionally a sanguine. But the chin and the corner are really of the bilious temperament. So he is a bilious / sanguine as well. So what do we know about Phil altogether? His Jupiter face tells us that he likes order, he is a man of integrity and passion for justice, he is consistent and reliable, a man the least to be discouraged of all personalities. If he believes something is right, it doesn't matter how many people think otherwise. He sticks to his truth. His moral values help him to stay on course, even when the going gets rough. He is always able to retain his usual benevolence and generosity. His Jupiterian mind is most powerful and conceptual. He was a good talk show host, but he could be a good teacher, an excellent researcher, or a writer, or a leader. He is also able to be a great companion, as well as a patient and tolerant caregiver. That's all regarding Phil's personality. Having a bilious physicality, he is a long-distance runner in every respect, able to pursue his goals to the end without being overwhelmed or discouraged. The challenges on his way fuel his will to overcome and succeed, and he has the endurance to support his ambitions. Having a sanguine emotionality and impulsiveness, he possibly rushed with some decisions and went into fights where it was possible to negotiate. Though, I have to say, I don't think it happened too often, because he developed a personality of a Jupiter who is patient and tolerant, as well as a good negotiator. So I would say in his life, he often may have wanted to knock someone's teeth out, but his superego, that is, his personality, made him swallow his impulses and act more civilly. And more than likely, for such restraint he paid with his health. It's much healthier to let the steam out than to keep the steam in your belly. And here we are. Let's see how all these qualities play out in their relationship. Though both are partially bilious, you see the red line, Phil is more enduring than Marlo. You see the green line. She has a sanguine short-term endurance, and he has a bilious long-term endurance. Both are somewhat impulsive, the blue line, the tilted forehead. You can not see really this clearly in Marlo's picture, but you can see clearly on this picture, right? So, energetically, he was always a stronger party, though with his red skin of the sanguine, he was less patient. Maybe to the others, he wasn't, but in the intimacy of a long-term relationship, more than likely, she was the cooling down mechanism. Both of them are willful and determined. Both are willing and able to stay on course when the going gets tough. My take on it is, if there was a conflict, he would blow up, but she knew that it would not last long. And with many years together, more than likely, they both knew what the other needed the most. He knew that she needed space. We know it from her son's face. And she knew that he needed things to be orderly, timely, and morally right. Because for Marlo, these concepts are more blurry. She would probably readily accommodate him in return for his patience and acceptance of her independence and the need to be alone at times. Overall, if rating this couple, we follow the compatibility of four couples scale, which I give in my book as green light, yellow light, and red light, Marlo and Phil would fall into a yellow category, that is, good, but proceed with caution. There may be bumps on the road. This is because of the similarities in their temperament. But because Jupiter personality and Sun personality go so well together, I would say their compatibility is somewhere between the green light, perfect match, and yellow light. So the conclusion for this couple is to make it a perfect match, long-lasting couple. We're talking about 40 years here. You do not need to arrive into this world as a perfect match. You need to be willing and ready to adjust your personality, your wishes, demands, preferences, even impulses to those of your partner. And that is all for Marlo, Thomas, and Phil Donahue. The next couple of this Donahue series will be Kyra Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon. Here they are. And that is all for today. Thank you for being with me on this exploratory journey. Peace to all who want to live in peace.